Hey everyone, and welcome back to Scraplift Sunday Sisters installment. And this week we are scrap lifting Audrey Yeager. I believe that's how you say it. I'm sorry if it's wrong. And her video will be linked down below, as well as Amy Lane's video she'll have up on her channel. She's the second one in this scrap lift series. Wherefore we are sisters together, colloquially saying the word sisters. But anyway, let's get in. So pretty much I have started off exactly the same as Audrey does. I found a piece of paper. She uses grid. Unfortunately, I didn't have any grid paper. I'm quite disappointed that I don't now that I went looking for some. But anyway, I used this grey stripe and I have gessoed it just like she has. I don't know if she gessoed the whole page. I can't remember. But I have, so that I can have it all even. And I don't know how far my stripes of Distress Oxides going to go or anything like that. Now I'm sticking to the same colour order as well. She didn't use purple in the rainbow, and I kind of wish I had put it in there, because I have lots of purple embellishments, but that's okay. So I pulled out my colours, 5 colours, and I'm just trying to make sure that they are the right kind of tones and they match well together before I put them all over my paper. So just a little bit of a scrunch here of the colour onto this cardstock, which is actually the back of the, like I sketched out her layout, so that I could have it as a reminder while I was scrap lifting. So then I go and I do exactly what she does, and I use a scrap piece of paper to be the line that stops the colour going anywhere else, but also gives it that definition of a straight line in between the colour rays, colour stripes. And I'm just using a makeup wipe sponge thing, those circle sponge. I don't know what they're for. Usually I guess they remind me to take your eyeshadow off. But anyway, straight into the Distress Oxides, and I'm just putting the colours on one by one, just using a new sponge for each colour so the colours don't combine, and just slightly moving the paper so that it is, has a space in between each colour, and that the lines hopefully match up enough. So that's pretty easy mixed media technique, and because I've copied her, it's even easier. But I think everyone should do it, and multiple layouts should be done like this. It is so nice. It is so cool. Such a great effect. I really love. And it's so simple. Like, I actually thought when I first seen the layout, when Amy showed me, I thought she just used the ink pad and just smooshed it down. And I'm thinking, how did she get the ends like that, and things like that. And then when I was watching the video, I was like, she used a sponge herself. So definitely went in and did that. That way also it was easier to get that line with the paper. And I'm just finishing it off with the green. Then I'll finish it off and then the blue will complete all those colour rays coming out of that page. And so you can see I've got my photo up the top there, waiting to be used. Just a photo of my youngest son Oliver giggling his head off, and why not? So I thought that would be a cute little photo to go on a rainbow layout. So you can see Audrey measured out and put some lines on her paper for where she was going to put the rays and stuff. I probably should have done it. And then this blue one, I need to go back, and hopefully I can do it and fix up this line, because I moved the paper too far, and this in between the green and the blue is just too big of a gap. It's crazy. But I didn't even notice it when I was finishing the layout off. I only noticed when I was editing, and I was like, why is that like that? And I know why, but because the pink's not like that, and if the pink was like that, it would even it out. But because it's on an angle, I wanted to have the photo encompassed in a circular kind of a shape. It sort of doesn't look even, so I need to go in and put some more on. Anyway, using my just a paintbrush and some water, and I'm just flicking water all over the colour, all over the painted ink spots or rays, and I'm just going to leave that there for a second, and then use some paper towel to dab it up. This then gives you that bleached look, and will pull off some of the colour because it's water reactive, and leave it just with those lovely little spots and that kind of effect. So it's like using a stencil, and in fact you could use a stencil with water through it, and this is just gives it a really cool look. So I am going to do it a second time. I was watching Audrey for a couple of million time of this layout while I was making at the beginning, and she was mentioning that you can leave the colour on distress, the water on distress oxide, and that way the colour just changes a little. And that was the effect I was going for when I splattered the second time. And then I thought, while that dries, I'll cut some tags out. But when I come back, I get impatient and I just dry it up, which is fine. It gives it more of those white spots and speckles, and that is fine. Now, Audrey got inspiration, I think, mostly because in her kit, and I'm fighting with my trimmer, in her kit that she used back in June last year to make this layout were these tags that had like cut out flowers and things like that. It was all very cool, and of course I don't have that, but instead I thought I would use some vellum, because then you could see the colour through the vellum, and I would solve and work out how I was going to attach it to the paper without being, the glue being seen or whatever later. But I thought I'd give it a try and cut the vellum, and what was there to lose? If the worst come to worst, I had 5 vellum tags that I could use on a different project, but they worked really well, I think. So just cutting them down, I cut them down to 2 inches wide, 3 inches long, and that just was a nice little balance in size, and also then wasn't overhanging the coloured sections, except for the green, because the green is so small. Now the blue is going to go off the edge, and the pink one goes off the edge a little bit as well. That just means that, to me, it's like the design is just forever going. Like if you have something going off the page, it, in your eyes, it continues and it draws in and it makes it appealing. I don't know. Does that even make sense? Anyway, getting out. Speak properly, Lauren. Getting out my twine now. Now, Audrey stitched a circular edge above the tags and then stitched the tags down in a circular line of stitching as well. I didn't want to get out my sewing machine. That's my excuse every time. I really love sewing and I really should do it, but I just don't know. Maybe I should challenge myself to put it up on my second desk next to me and actually use it. But that's okay. I like the way my alternative to it. So I got out this embroidery floss, and you can see I've got some normal cotton there as well, but I do change it out for some floss. And I'm just using it in its full strength, full 6 strands at once, and I'm just looping it in and attaching it to the tags. So you know how, you fold the twine in half, and then you put that loop into the hole and pull it through, put the ends that are not looped through that loop and pull it tight. Not too tight because it's vellum. And I just am like Audrey. She puts all her embellishments yellow on yellow, red on red, that kind of thing. So I'm doing the same with the twine, and I will do the same with the embellishments. Now at the moment I just left them long. They're not all the same length, but I've left them long because I'm not 100% sure what I'm going to do with it yet. I just know it'd be cool to have that pop of texture and colour on the page. Now, to compensate for the cutouts on her tags, I thought, what if I use my punches? And of course you could go use cut files, but that's too much effort for me as well. And so I pulled out my heart punches, and surprisingly, even though one is out in my lounge room from the family daycare children using it, I do have enough hearts to do some different things on these cards. Now some of that gets covered up, and that is fine. Sometimes it's a bit like mixed media background. You put it all on there, and if it gets covered up, it gets covered up. If you see pops of it, that's just the benefit to it. So just finishing off that last tag with some other heart kind of thing. Trying to work out exactly what I want to do. And then I find this third one. So there we go. So that's that done. So it's starting to, have that similar properties in the tags as Audrey's did. And now I'm just going to move all that stuff out and pull out my embellishment boxes. So the embellishment boxes are sorted by colour. Now these are the ones that I have had for a long time, or I have used up all the rest of the collection or the kit or anything like that. It's just those leftover random die cutty pieces. Now I'm just going to pull them out and work out exactly what I have for each each colour section. So I'm not actually pulling things out and putting them where I want at the moment. What I'm doing is going, okay, this is pink, I'm going to put pink things over here which I think could go with the layout and the vibe, and then I'm going to put orange and yellow and green and blue, etc, etc. So I've got some yellow, some red and some orange all in this one container. And I find these butterflies, which I'm pretty sure Tash cut for me back in the day when we first started scrapbooking, and they've just sat there and forever and ever. But the good thing was that I found them today and haven't used them all still, but I found them today and I had them in quite a few colours, which mean then it was a repeating factor, a repeating part of my layout today. I also used some of these items that I'd stamped back when I, was first building my stash. Got out some stamps and some coloured ink and then fussy cut them out, and then used a few, and then of course just left them to sit in these ephemera boxes forever and a day. But the good thing about scrap lifting in this series is that I dig into my stash. So hopefully you guys feel inspired to get some scrap lifting happening, especially if you are looking to use up your stash and just have that challenge of digging in and finding things. I think sometimes we often get new kits and we focus on that for the month, or we focus on a project, so we've already made a mini kit, or we have a collection in mind for that project, and then we sort of forget about the majority of what's going on in our stash. But it was nice little a bonus to do it here. So cut that out, a little bit of it, and then I'm just going to show you how I embellish the yellow, no, this is pink, and the orange. And then I didn't realise, but my camera cut out, and I'm so sorry, but I will talk you through what else I did. There wasn't much more. So I'm just making sure that the twine is not getting riled up and stuck in parts where I'm sticking whatnot down, and I'm sticking the vellum down by just using the wet glue, but underneath the ephemera, so it's covered, because vellum you can see through it. If you put glue under vellum, you can see it, unless you've got special vellum glue. But by putting that flower there and then putting the glue underneath that flower onto the vellum means you can't see the glue through it. So here I am, keeping it nice and simple, just something sweet. And then I do then go in and pull that heart paper clip out and go, ugh, don't want that. And then I realised I hadn't glued down the flower because I just used the paper clip to hold it in spot. But that's okay. So that's that first one done. Simple as that. And I do then move on to the orange. And I don't use everything that I pull out for every colour. I just try and work out what I want. And I was toying with backing this heart shape with this piece of paper with the stars and the dotted orange, but then I go decide against it and instead use some other pieces. I think it was nice to use those little punched out places to have that pop of colour more stronger through the vellum, because the vellum mutes the tone of the colour that's going on behind it. I'm just going to add some hearts on this orange one. So some of them are a bit more embellished than other colours, and that's okay. We don't want everything to be the same with this kind of a design. We don't want 5 colours and everything, has the label, a house and a butterfly. Like, that would look good for purposes, but for this one today, I didn't want that to be the situation. So I'm going to add some of these labels. These are just stamped image label things here. Stamped in orange on some little watercolory kind of paper, so it's got a bit of a texture look to it. And that's going to be the orange. Now this is where you're going to hate me and my video cuts out. I had not cleared off my phone of other footage that I'd recorded this weekend, and I ran out of space. But we'll get a close-up of the image, and then we'll just, you know, take in what's going on. So I'm going to move on to the yellow, and we're going to put on, I was thinking about backing these ones too and then decide against it, but instead I go for using that Your Journey circle, and with the heart, with the house and the bees, and then I come in with the flare as well. And then the green one, I decided not to even use the vellum pocket vellum tag at all. I had this green and white tag that had the ampersand on it, and I decided that was a little pop of difference, so I put that on and then embellished it with some butterflies and whatnot. And then I've done the blue, remembering that the side of the paper was there and I couldn't put it off the edge. Now behind my photo, I just put a layer of black and white polka dot paper, and actually I started with a white background first and then the black and white polka dot, and just added some of those butterflies, a flare, and the title Amazing, although Trouble stands out a bit more, so maybe that's the title. And then I just finish it off with some enamel dots and some heart stickers, and then that's my layout. So hopefully you've enjoyed today's little process video in the series, and definitely check out Audrey and Amy's. So Audrey's the original layout and Amy's is a Scraplift just like mine. And subscribe if you want to see some more videos like this in the future. Obviously, we did plan to do this weekly, but we've gone to fortnightly now. And let us know if there's anyone you'd like us to Scraplift. I'll talk to you in comments below. If not, I will talk to you next video. Catch you next time. Bye.